I do not understand how somebody can have something that traumatic happen and just drive away.
Police are still looking for a driver who hit and killed a person in Northeast Portland Friday night. Thanks for joining us on this special edition of KGW News. I'm John Adams. Our Sydney Dorner spoke with neighbors who say if the city doesn't take strict measures now, people will continue to die on the roads.
Neighbors were so touched by the traffic death, they even left flowers where the person's body was found, despite not knowing them. Car accidents have killed at least 40 people in Portland this year. Not surprising to people like Lori McClish, who just moved, still adjusting to the driving culture.
Everybody's going at least 10, 15, sometimes 20 miles over the speed limit. You have to be an extremely defensive driver.
Friday night, she saw the real-life consequences of this behavior, waking up at 10 p.m., realizing a dead body was right in front of her porch.
It had just happened. They hadn't even really covered the body yet.
After a person was hit and killed off Northeast 113th Avenue and East Burnside while trying to cross the street. Police say the driver left by the time they got there.
Where she landed, I don't think they tried at all to stop.
The next morning, another neighbor and his wife took lavender from their garden and left them where the death occurred.
I want to live in a world where people care about other human beings, so it's definitely tragic.
Saying he didn't know the victim, but hope police can find the driver.
I mean, I'm sure that person was scared and devastated that they did what they did. Hopefully they were, but I definitely think that taking off like that is cowardly.
After living in the Hazelwood neighborhood since 2016, he thinks this part of Portland is often forgotten, saying the city has gotten better with traffic enforcement, but there's still more work to be done.
If there's a bunch of stoplights, it kind of slows the traffic down, So I do think just installing more barriers, making it harder to drag race, really.
Sydney Dorner, KGW News.
New tonight, Portland police are investigating a deadly shooting in the Lentz neighborhood. Officers were called to an apartment complex on Southeast Aspen Summit Drive off Mount Scott Boulevard before 6 this morning. There they found a man dead in the common area of the apartments. Portland police said there is no suspect information being released at this time. Portland police are also investigating a separate shooting that left several vehicles damaged and possibly one person hurt. Officers were called to Northwest 2nd and Cooch, where they saw at least 7 cars hit by bullets. At some point later on, an area hospital treated a walk-in patient with a gunshot wound, but it's unclear if the two are related. A suspect has not been identified. In Hillsborough, police arrested a driver who was involved in a crash on suspicion of driving under the influence. It happened yesterday just before 4:30 in the afternoon. Hillsborough police said one of the drivers fled after the crash and nearly hit a patrol vehicle heading to another call. They were stopped a short time later and charged with DUII, reckless driving, and 2 counts of reckless endangerment. A Tigard mother and daughter face federal charges for allegedly bringing 3 people to the U.S. from Haiti, then forcing them to work long hours for little to no pay. They're speaking out publicly after they were arraigned in federal court Friday afternoon. They tell our Alma McCarty these claims are blatantly false.
On Thursday, at Valida's care home on an unassuming street in Tigard, the FBI took the owners and operators, a mother-daughter duo, into custody.
So it's just it's insane that they could say these things about us right now.
66-year-old Marie Valmont and 30-year-old Yolandita Andre were named in a 7-count indictment accused of holding 3 victims in indentured servitude and benefiting from forced labor. This after federal prosecutors claim they convinced 2 adults and a child from Haiti to come to the U.S. to work at the care home.
So my mom and we sponsor some of our relatives to come to the United States.
On Friday, KGW spoke with Andre after she pleaded not guilty to the charges in federal court.
Just being a woman and you hear the stories of the things that are being done to young girls down there, I felt like I have a responsibility to do like something about it.
Although court documents allege the 3 victims were forced to work long hours for little to no pay, and that Valmont and Andre took the victims' immigration paperwork and threatened them, Andre told reporters that couldn't be further from the truth. They may have stayed here, but she says they were not employees and that they came to the country through what's called humanitarian parole, a program that allows people from certain countries to come to the U.S. for up to 2 years to live and work.
No, they weren't employees. They didn't come here. We had hired other people to work. You know, and we only had 2 clients. There was no need for us to hire 5, 6, 7, 8 people to care for only 2 people. When my mother and I were already in the house and we already hired 2 other people.
She said she and her mother helped her relatives get proper paperwork and ID cards, paid for food, clothing, and for medical expenses, and would send money back to Haiti.
In our community, it's just so normal to be so overly generous and put your family and everybody first.
So Andre says to be criminally charged, accused of indentured servitude, is shocking.
Growing up with a mother who was undocumented, a Black woman who had no papers, I have seen the way that the world has treated her. I would never do that to anybody.
Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Their next hearing is set for November. If convicted on those charges, they face up to 20 years in federal prison. Well, turning now to weather, the last weekend of September really didn't disappoint at all, with sunny skies and some really comfortable temperatures out there. So what's the last couple of days of the month going to look like? Well, let's bring in meteorologist Joe Ranieri, who's here with those answers for us.
John Adams, I got 2 words for you. Picture perfect. That's for the forecast for tomorrow and Monday. It gets even nicer for the first day of October. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but I want to go out live from our Pioneer Park building. It's a camera we haven't had a chance to use lately because it was kind of under some construction up there in downtown Portland. Right now, though, 66 degrees in downtown Portland. Tomorrow morning, we're going to be waking up to a little bit of cloud cover here and there. Temperatures won't be all that bad. It won't be the fall crisp conditions that we're kind of used to, but temperatures in the upper 40s to low 50s out of the gate by midday. 61 degrees. Heading into the afternoon, sunny and pleasant conditions, but it will be a little bit cooler from what we saw earlier this afternoon. So the last couple of days of September are going to be sunny and nice. Hard to believe we only have 2 days left. Highs could get close, though, to 80 degrees on Tuesday for October 1st. Not the warmest, that won't be record temperatures, but still, for early October to see temperature of right around 80 degrees sure is pretty pleasant. Showers move back into the picture by the later part of next week. So let's just hold on to the sunny and comfortable conditions we're going to be seeing here the next couple of days. Temperatures right now on this Saturday night are right around the low 60s. I'll break down your detailed forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Joe, thank you. We'll see you later in the show. The number of people who've died from opioid overdoses in Oregon is 5 times higher than what it was in just 2019, and those numbers continue to rise. That's according to the Oregon Health Authority. Our Libby Dowsett spoke with people recovering from addiction who say the only way to turn that trend around is by opening more beds for those in crisis.
2 fingers on the top, thumb on the bottom, have them on their back.
Elizabeth Smith from Oxford House Recovery Homes spent Saturday morning teaching people what to do if someone overdoses. She represented one of many organizations at this year's Walk for Recovery event in downtown Portland. Smith says she knows how difficult it can be to get help because she too is a recovering addict.
I overdosed in the last 14 months that I was using 8 times. Every time I was released from the hospital, they handed me a printout list of detox centers and treatment centers, not even the phone numbers.
Smith says the best way to help an addict is to offer a warm hand approach.
Having people meet them where they're at, give them resources, be willing to drive them to that detox center.
Others in the crowd with their own addiction stories say the answer is not just getting people into detox, but also offering more time for recovery.
We are seeing better outcomes with people with 30 days of sobriety coming into housing, right? And but when we get them straight from detox, they're either leaving that, from detox or that night, and the success just isn't there right now.
To recognize and acknowledge every approach to the addiction is more important than rather than trying to compete to see which one works better.
Multnomah County's district attorney-elect told KGW acute detox centers and treatment centers need to be the priority.
And we talk about things like, a lot of times about deflection and 4002. That really should actually start with detox and detox centers and getting people the help they need to really ensure that we can get them out of crisis and out of that acute situation where they may be at risk of dying.
The support is here. Addicts with their family and friends showing how far they'll travel to help others in need.
People involved in this walk say it's about a lot more than just walking through downtown Portland. They say this is a show of solidarity and that they can get better.
It doesn't matter how far down you are, as long as you're still breathing, there's always a chance.
Libby Dowsett, KGW News.
A new documentary is highlighting a growing demographic when it comes to homelessness, older adults. The documentary is called No Place to Grow Old and focuses on homeless Portlanders between the ages of 56 and 72. It captures the struggles of 3 older adults facing homelessness and offers a glimpse into the real solutions that could make a difference. The director says he hopes the film will be eye-opening for the people who see it.
Whether you are the person who's on the streets struggling to get into housing, or if you're the person wanting to enjoy downtown and you want to have a great evening downtown but don't feel safe, this is an issue that affects every one of us, and we can no longer look away.
No Place to Grow Old premiered on Friday at the Newmark Theater in downtown Portland.